All right, folks, what do you do if the bank that you do business with is anti-Christian? Think about that for a minute. The enemy is infiltrated everywhere. The enemy has while most people have just been working hard trying to survive, the enemy is infiltrated everywhere. The school districts, obviously the government, the banking industry, your investment portfolios, BlackRock, for example, Vanguard, and now JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America. They're defunding Christian movements, nonprofits across the world. And if you go to craigbouchon.com, you will see what I'm talking about. I've posted a article and a video specifically about that. So it's important that you go there, check out what we're posting on the website. There's a lot of bad things happening in the world to Christians. Now, so what do you do? Well, it's challenging. Some people work in an industry that is heavily influenced by some of these banks. You might have a job that the main bank for your company doing financing could be a JP Morgan Chase or a Bank of America, for example, right? And your Christian values are, well, I don't want to empower companies that are anti-Christian. I mean, that's morally bankrupt if I do that. And that's the way the enemy wants it. The enemy wants it where you're going to have to make some very, very heavy decisions concerning your values. And let's just go back, to the founding of this country. Let's go back to people like George Washington, who were worth several $100 million. And I've made this point several times because it's very important to understand what these people back then risked so we can have this republic, not a democracy, this republic. And they risked everything. George Washington was worth several $100 million. He went to war. He went to war multiple times. He was in many, many battles, lost the majority of those battles, but he ended up winning the war through the grace of God, in my opinion, and the help of the French. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the times that we live in today. The enemy is infiltrated in so many places that there is no way for you or I to defend ourselves against this anti-Christ movement and this anti-liberty movement without suffering some sort of damage. Meaning that we are going to feel some of the pain. There's no way to beat the enemy without having something happen to us. And in this case, if you work somewhere and your main bank that you deal with is a JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America, you've got to figure out a way how to defund them. So one way of doing that is just do the minimum. The minimum amount of things that you have to do if you're in an industry like the automobile industry, for example, or in the RV industry, or if you sell lawn equipment, tractors, whatever, and you typically have a main funding bank. And if it's one of these banks that's anti-Christian, then just do the very, very minimum to meet your contract needs, and then shift it to banks that you have availability to that aren't doing this type of work. Not working against your very existence of why you're alive. The whole reason you're alive, and all of you Christians know this, is to get to heaven. That is the reason that you're born into this fallen world. And the journey is you need to be saved. And hopefully the people around you will be saved as well, so you can get out of this godforsaken place. Okay? And that's not going to happen if we allow the enemy to grow rapidly under our watch. We have got to push back. Period. And we have to put in place lending institutions that are pro-Christian and remove these ones that are not. And that's going to be hard work because BlackRock is engaged in many of these companies and they are pushing their agenda. And the more we try to defund these organizations, they fund them. So it's a big problem, folks. and it's not going to go away easily. So understand that World War III has begun, and it's an extension of the entire fight through from Adam and Eve to now. And it is our turn to have to be engaged. It's just that simple. Unfortunately, the last generation, the generation after World War II, just kind of fell asleep at the wheel, if you will. Kind of didn't push back. They were duped, lied to. Many of them good people. They went to church, and they were lied to from the pulpit as well. Churches have been infiltrated. It's false doctrine. Very, very bad things happening in too many churches, and we have to turn that around as well. So look at all of these fronts we have to fight on. But that's just the way it is. We can do it. We can unite together. Go to AmericaICan.com. AmericaICan.com. We are trying to get this message out about uniting people together under American. And there's just a lot of work that we have to do. But do not be discouraged. Say your prayers every day. Understand, put on that armor of God every day and push forward. Don't be afraid to talk to people about it. Don't be afraid to push back. Don't be afraid to stand on your Christian values, period. Because the enemy is not coming. The enemy is here in the village, and it will burn every single home down if we let it. So, stay focused, say your prayers, read your scripture, don't be afraid to push back, put on the armor of God. United, folks, we will be able to make some great ground on the enemy. See you soon, folks.